clock tells me it's midnight, but I've been sitting at this desk since 8 in the morning. Any designer worth half his salt knows that these are the prime hours of the day. She walked through my door like a hard-boiled egg. I get the feeling this dame's hiding something. She may be a tough nut to crack. She was all business. Before I could even offer her a drink, she let slip that she has a doppelganger. I've got a situation on my hands and I need someone with your experience to help me out. I could tell she was nervous. She had a waver in her voice and that wide-eyed look you get when you think someone is following. I took a sip, nodded for her to take a seat, and waited for her to continue. I was always watching over my shoulder. It felt like someone was following me, watching my every move, waiting for me to slip up. So I stalled. I did my work in the quiet hours, hiding away where only the night watched and no critics to catch me out. And then one day I saw it. Leaving the office just as I was coming in, they congratulated me on my good work, only I swear I hadn't done anything special. It was like there was another me. One step ahead, no fear and no shame. Plot twist. I'm the imposter. Dun dun dun! So imposter syndrome is a thing. It's not just made up for the movies. But what is it? Imposter syndrome is basically a mindset in which we doubt or we diminish our abilities and our successes. You might feel like you don't deserve to be there, or you feel incompetent, out of your depth, or maybe you're always looking over your shoulder waiting to be found out. If this is seeming really familiar to you, it may be that you have it. I know I definitely have it. And in fact, about 70% of people suffer from imposter syndrome. And it affects people across all disciplines, whether they're medical experts, psychologists, writers like Neil Gaiman and Maya Angelou, and actors like Tina Fey. And it also affects across all demographics. It seems to be especially prevalent amongst women and people working in industries where their gender or their ethnicity make them an obvious minority. In the 1970s, psychologists Pauline Clance and Suzanne Imes first investigated this imposter phenomenon. And what they found was that there was quite a strong pattern of people dismissing their accomplishments and believing that their success would disappear once others found out their horrible, terrible secret, that they were imposters. And one of the most upsetting things of the imposter syndrome is that the illusion that everyone around you is achieving this effortless superiority and success, while you're the only one that's struggling horribly and terribly all on your own. What's interesting about this mindset is it's not true. What we see of other people is the outside. We don't see what's going on in here. For ourselves, we see all these horrible things going through our minds of that we're not good enough, that we're going to get found out, and what if what we do fails terribly? But we don't see that in other people, so we have this misconception of other people's success, and it seems like it was easily found for them. While imposter syndrome itself isn't actually a psychiatric illness, it can lead to mental health problems such as depression, anxiety, stress, addiction, stalled projects, unfinished projects. Like, I have an entire folder full of things that I have given up halfway through because I got frustrated with myself. It basically just generally leads to overall unhappiness. They're less likely to take on risks for new ideas or concepts because of this risk of failure or criticism. It's born from the feeling that imperfection breeds incompetence, which we know is complete and utter bullshit, because we learn from mistakes, we grow as creators and designers, and sometimes we make happy accidents. They're good things. Dr. Valerie Young, who's an expert in imposter syndrome, she's basically categorized it into 5 subgroups, and some of these may resonate with you. The first one is the perfectionist. They set themselves really high goals, and when they fail to reach those, they experience hella self-doubt and begin to worry about actually measuring up. We're kind of control freaks. And basically our success is rarely satisfying because in our heads we could have done better. And I do this with the majority of my work. I stare at it and I nitpick at it, and all I can see is all the things that I should have done better. We know that this isn't a very productive or a healthy mindset. So it's a real struggle to break that cycle. The second one is the superhuman. These are basically people who think that they're like fraudsters amongst their peers. So they feel like they have to work harder to measure up to everyone else. The third one is the natural genius. They basically judge their success based on their abilities as opposed to their efforts. In other words, if they have to work hard at something, they must be terrible at it. And these are some of the issues that I have as well, so I actually find some overlap between these categories. I feel like I should be able to nail the thing the first time I try it, which is obviously ridiculous, because I can't be an expert at something that I've never done before. It takes time. Experts didn't become experts straight away. Yeah, some people were really good when they first started and I hate their guts, but majority of people have to work at it. The fourth one is the rugged individualist, which sounds like kind of crazy hipsters. They feel like asking for help reveals their phoniness, which is also ridiculous. You shouldn't be afraid to ask for help. Sometimes you feel like by asking for help it's admitting that you have a lack of knowledge or skill in a particular area. But even people who have worked in an industry for a really long time still ask for help and improve their skills. And finally, we have the expert. They feel like somehow that they've tricked their peers or their employers into hiring them, and they feel like that they're going to get exposed at any point in time that they're inexperienced or unknowledgeable. So now that you kind of know a little bit more about imposter syndrome, you're probably going, oh shit, how do I stop this? You'll find a hell of a lot of articles that tell you all these brilliant ways of breaking the cycle of imposter syndrome, but I find that they're kind of not super practical. The actual thing is in your mentality. You need to change the way that you think. And yeah, talking about imposter syndrome definitely helps, and it helps make it relatable and breaks down these barriers of how you perceive other people. But you can't just turn it off like that, otherwise, we wouldn't have these issues. So I'm not going to be that guy that tells you how to get over your imposter syndrome, because I haven't even got it over it myself. And it's all well and good for me to read a thing that says stop comparing yourself to that other person, but I'm going to keep comparing myself to that other person, whether they're a fellow student or they're a professional that's been working in the industry for the past 30 or 40 years. It's hard to break that cycle, and it's hard to turn that part of my brain off that have become wired to do that. What's interesting is also that I never used to have this. As a teenager or as a child, I had no qualms and I had no fear of failure. It's something that's developed as I've become an adult, so evaluating where that stems from is probably valuable. So that's probably something that you'll have to investigate further, or stay tuned to my second video in which we speak to an industry professional who might have some solutions, hopefully. Someone's got to know how to get over this, right? Like an actual feasible thing that can fix my brain. Anyway, thanks for watching.